Everyone loved the linear tier list, so here we are with the tactiles. Please bear with me again, I did this in basically one take. Kicking off with Holy Pandas from Drop. There's really not much to dislike about these switches. Straight into S tier for me. They have a really strong tactile bump, but it's not obnoxiously strong like some of the modern switches. There was no issues when I was, say, playing video games or whatever. The sound is awesome, really clean bottom out as you'd expect from a long pole stem tactile. It's got a deep, full, not thin or plasticky sounding, slightly high pitched sound. Top points. Next up we've got the Everglide Dark Jades or the Moyu Blacks. Very underrated switch. I really love these. These are one of my personal favourites. Not quite S tier, but strong A tier. A bit higher pitched than the Holy Pandas. It's because of the PBT housing. The tactile bump is just as strong, but I would describe it as sharper. Overall, extremely good switch. Next up, we've got the Boba U4Ts by Gazoo. Very strong tactile bump. One of the strongest, if not the strongest. I think only second to the Haramows that I've got. Not a huge fan of the sound. I personally don't like low pitch, what I think most of the community would describe as thocky switches, but still extremely good switch overall, easily B tier. Also worth noting, you do not need to loop these. These are absolutely unreal stock. Onto the Haramows. These were done at a group buy last year. You'll only find them on the second-hand market now. Really strong tactile bump. Absolutely obliterates the Gazoo Boba U4Ts. Easily the strongest tactile bump I've tried yet. The sound is also pretty good. Nice and loud. Really clean bottom out. Not bad stock. Overall, extremely good. A tier. Onto the Zelios. Lots of people like these. The tactile bump is strong. It's just not quite sharp as others. It's way too high pitched for my liking. Sounds a bit too plasticky. The stem isn't very long, so the bottom out sound isn't very clean. It's lucky to get a C tier, to be quite honest. Glorious Pandas. Extremely similar, almost identical to the Drop Holy Pandas. I would say they're ever so slightly higher pitched, ever so slightly louder. And a few of mine, and this is widely known in the community, a few of mine had some leaf ping. Now when you're typing away you don't notice it, but it is there and it is annoying. That's probably the only reason it doesn't get an S tier. Every other aspect is top notch. Texi Purple Pandas. Now I don't normally do this, but because of their price I'm putting them into A tier. They absolutely blow away most of the tactiles I'm showing to you today, and they're dirt cheap. Really nice sounding, good medium tactile bump. In fact, a lot of people mention that it was the best sounding video I've had so far in my tofu aluminum plate tape modded with the Texi Purple Pandas. Clack City. Novel Keys Blueberries. I'm not a huge fan. They have a nice sound to them, nice and deep, full, not too high pitch, clean bottom out considering it's not a long pole stem. The tactile bump is really blocky and weird. I'm not a fan. It gets a C tier for me. Next up, Texi Coffee Chip Switches. It's a bit cheap and cheerful, though I'm not a huge fan. I think they're a slightly worse version of the Texi Neapolitans. QC wasn't that great. Sound was way too high pitch. I had some inconsistent housing, like flaky bits. C tier, not ideal. Texi Neapolitans next. A little improvement over the coffee chips. They have a 2-stage spring which makes the tactile bump real nice. They were made with the Zykos in mind, but they're, in my opinion, not really that close. But on their own, good tactile switch. Nice long pole stem, decent all round. Cherry Browns, F tier. SP Star Magic Girls, probably the only true medium tactile switch I've tried out yet. Pretty good sound, average overall. Sound was clean even though it didn't have a long stem pole. You know, if you don't like immensely tactile switches, this is definitely for you. It's definitely up there. Acco Sponges, really good budget option. It's got a tactile bump on the way down and on the way up. It's got a really clean sound. Not too much else to say. Solid C tier. Next up, Purple Potatoes. These were done on a group buy, I think, late last year. Made by Kel. It's got the same housings as the NK Blueberries, though the stem is different, so it's not blocky. It's got a more normal tactile feel to it. I also really like the sound. I think these are a pretty good strong switch overall. I haven't done an Is Looping Worth video yet or a review, but it's coming. I like it. You'll like it. Lastly, we've got the Ajaz Banana switches. Not a very well known switch, but I really liked it. In my KBD67 Lite, it really suited it well. It's got like a bouncy, light, not too tactile feel. Even stock, it had like this poppy sound to it, which I did kind of like, but I don't think it's my cup of tea overall. If you got this far, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all the support. I've been really enjoying making these videos, and any ideas or things I can change, please comment down below.